Hi guys, welcome to So Jannelle. I'm your host Jannelle So, bringing you stories of immigration and representation. And when we talk about representation today on the show, we're going to introduce you to the lady who was representing as early as the 90s, even before we started hearing about how big and how great and how wonderful representation is. Jocelyn Enriquez, the disco diva or disco queen of the 90s. You know, I grew up in the Philippines hearing your songs and dancing to your songs, and then I realized you were Pinay. And so this is a fangirl moment for me because now you're here.
Aw, well, thank you so much for having me. I am a great fan of your work too.
Oh,
How
thank you.
you tell the stories of
Aw.
all our kababayans. So at the same time, I want to fangirl out and say thank you, for your work and just making sure that we tell our stories. So you're a great storyteller. So I'm
That's
so happy to be here with
aw.
you in the back of Garden Amp.
Yes, that is so very gracious of you, Jocelyn. But yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to know during that time before, spots were being opened up and platforms were being opened for women of color, especially. How difficult or easy was that for you to rise up?
Back in the 90s, we didn't have the power of social media. So I think that was a blessing
Mm-hmm.
because if people enjoyed the music that they heard on the radio
I got
station,
it. Okay.
you know what I mean?
Right.
People will come out just because of the music. Music really didn't have any color
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
identity at that time. It
Yes.
was like, a moment where people can relate to the song. So I can't say it was difficult. I can't say that it was easy either
Mm-hmm.
because the work is very different from how it is now where, musical artists, they can record out of their homes. For me, 30 years ago, believe it or
You had to
not,
have a label.
you had to have a
Take a
label.
take a risk with
Yes,
you.
you had
Right.
to have a label. You
Right.
had to go into studio.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
what I mean? You didn't have like, oh, let me upload my music video. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there was so much work that was involved. So in hindsight, it was neither hard nor easy,
Mm-hmm.
but I like the fact that I could share my story. And again, I'm just grateful. Like after 30 years later,
Mm-hmm.
now that we do have the power of social media, they'll say, oh, I had no idea she was Pinay.
Right.
So I love
Exactly.
that. I love that.
But what about you growing up? They say you can't be what you can't see, and you need role models to relate to. Who were those that you watched? And especially at the time when there wasn't too many, a lot of inspiration, like Asian singers that were out there. Who did you look up to?
For me personally, it started at the home. It
Okay.
had to.
Mm-hmm.
As Filipinos, we're very family oriented.
Yes.
My parents were very big into make sure, you live out your dream, however that may look like. So my heroes
Mm-hmm.
are my parents. They put in the effort to make sure that I had the best music school to
Mm-hmm.
attend. And so they had me going to the San Francisco Girls Chorus. I was an elementary school grade girl that would leave school early,
Uh-huh.
take public transportation because my parents worked,
Mm-hmm.
and they would meet me at the bus stop to connect to the next bus station so that I could make it to my school.
Wow.
And so, I mean, it was their inspiration of hard work, determination, and even sacrifice.
Right.
You know what I mean? Rather than me going to hang out with my friends,
Mhm.
in grade school. I
Right.
missed out a little bit on childhood, but you know, I cannot. I look at
Yep.
look
Yep.
at the story behind it,
Yep.
and I'm just very grateful that my parents, of course, coming from a Filipino minded family, it's like you got to be a doctor, you got to be a nurse, you got to
Mhm.
be an engineer,
Right.
you know what I mean? But my parents were very gracious. They knew at a very early age that I wanted to pursue a career in
Career in
music.
music. So they knew that. What about you as a young girl? At what point did you know that I want to do this and I want to do this for a living? And when did you realize it is viable? I can live on this?
Man, I mean, music was always a big part of my life. My parents, they're so funny. They're like, no toys, just musical instruments, educational.
Wow.
You know, so they really instilled that in me at a very early age. I mean, they would even prop me up on the coffee table and I would sing Ring My Bell by Anita Ward. You could ring my bell. Ring my bell. And
Okay.
you know, they were really okay with that. And so, you know, from the girls chorus to them managing a Filipino band that would perform for the different Filipino organizations all throughout the Bay Area. You know, they made sure that I got the exposure. I love the fact that my parents were really open for me to, like, you know, open my horizons. It wasn't just pop music. It wasn't just Filipino artists back home like Nora Honor or Sharon Cuneta.
Yes.
You know, it was Olivia Newton-John.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
So as varied as influence, a variety of influences.
Yes.
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 Yes. And what did you get out of that? Were you ever questioning, like, oh, she's good, but I don't look like her, or was it ever?
You know, for me, it was all about the music. It was all about the lyrics and even the performance. Like, you know, are they really just singing or are they really inviting me in their hearts through music? It really had to be that. Otherwise, as entertainers, like, you kind of cease to do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because music is food for the soul.
It is.
So,
it is.
yeah.
And we are just beginning here on So Jannelle, So Candid with Miss Jocelyn Enriquez. We will be back with more. Don't go away.
Know that I still care, even though you're not there. Just remember, I'm always holding on.
Thank you for sharing your time with us here on So Jannelle. Happy Sunday if you're watching on TFC. Happy Saturday if you're watching on ANC. And happy Monday if you're watching on KXLA Channel 44 in Southern California. We are always on our social media channels on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. We are at So Jannelle. Make sure you subscribe, you like, and you follow the same way that I have done with one of my idols. Really, I looked up to you growing up because you really broke through, guys. Jocelyn Enriquez, disco queen of the 90s. I'm sure you've heard her song. What is that again?
The radio plays our favorite song, and it's what keeps me holding on. Baby, do you miss me now that I'm gone?
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that, because loving to sing does not automatically translate to success in singing. What do you think propelled you to stardom?
So, I mean, again, we're talking about social media. We didn't have social media back then, but we did have a great community back in the Bay Area where I actually performed at a Filipino restaurant with my parents' band. I had dancers, and somebody took a video of my performance, and a record label, Classified Records, who is Filipino owned as well, got a hold of it, and they invited me to the studio, and we talked. And you know, it was funny because I told them, well, I think I'm a balladeer, you know.
Okay.
And they're like, well, I think, you know, that's great that you think that way, but why don't, you know, dance music is making such a such noise right now. Why don't you try that? And so, of course, you know, like it took faith, trust, and I was like, well, you know, let's give it a try. And sure enough, I recorded the first single, I've Been Thinking About You, released November of 1993. A week later, they were playing it in the Bay Area.
I'm getting goosebumps.
Yes.
What was that like for you to hear your song yourself on the radio?
It was so real. I mean, honestly, we had to, like, you know, touch the buttons and make sure that it was actually a radio station, and it wasn't like a tape that we were listening to the playback.
Right.
So it was surreal, and then to hear my name, hear my name being introduced, this is a fresh new cut by local girl Jocelyn Enriquez, you know,
Right,
coming
right.
to you. I was like, oh my gosh. I wish I had like those moments where I did capture or document those things, but now they're just memories. And one in particular was when I was with my dad. They were doing, you know, top 10 at 10, and it made the top 10 at 10.
Yes.
And it
you were
was
with
like,
your dad.
I was with my dad,
Oh.
and I was just like, you know, and my dad has passed in 2022, and you know, part of his legacy I carry with me because I use his last name, you know, and so I love the fact that Jocelyn Enriquez is just a remembrance of my dad.
You pay the price for the life you choose. So you choose to be a performer, you choose to be successful. There's a price to pay for that. What was the price that you had to pay for the things that you've enjoyed, the things that you're enjoying now?
That's a great question.
Oh.
Yes. Price, I think, really was sacrificing. Do I really want to move forward with a career, or do I want to maintain school? School is very important. Education is very important. I share that with my kids, but at the same time, finding that balance of what you love to do.
Yes.
And so that was a sacrifice that I had made. I was a freshman in college, San Francisco State University.
Smart.
And because it really was an overnight success. I mean, after a week into the studio, recording my song, getting airplay, we were going on tour.
Yep.
Like, okay, so I had to go into the studio, prepare my show, you know, get dancers, hire dancers, an image. I mean, what's an image?
Right.
You know, so it really just, okay, do I really want to put my 110% 24/7
Right.
into that? And really just, is the sacrifice worth it? And honestly, it was, because I was very blessed to have people surround me that supported me, that didn't treat me differently, like, oh, you're a performer now, you don't know us, you know? So my parents and the people around me, my management, really did a great job protecting me. Really just learning to trust your people.
Right.
Trust your people, but also really knowing what you want.
Right, right.
Knowing what you want and being open to, you know, suggestions.
Right? I love that.
Yes.
And so that produced the disco queen of the 90s. What's it like to be called like that, to have that title? Like, do your kids know?
It's so humbling.
It's been an anthem for many people.
It's an
Like, they
anthem.
trace their life milestones and moments
yeah, in fact,
based on your songs.
yes, in fact, there's actually a couple here at my show. They named their daughter after me. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I hope I
that's-
represented Jocelyn well. So I'm just, it's amazing.
And that's legacy. That's
Oh.
legacy. But I know that it wasn't a straight path for you as well. There was a time you took a break. We're going to be talking about that. Taking a break and prioritizing family, prioritizing ministry. We'll be back to talk about that. Don't go away.